Sometimes a single simple idea can just change how you see everything. Today, we're going to explore some reflections from Stephen Redhead that all kind of point to this one gentle, really reassuring idea that maybe, just maybe, life wasn't meant to be as hard as we often make it. So let's get into it. And it really all starts right here with this little shift in perspective. The thought is that life itself, all the events, the twists and turns, it's all kind of neutral. It's the lens we look through that colors it all, turning it into either this heavy burden or an amazing adventure. And that leads us right into this first reflection, which looks at a pattern that, let's be honest, is pretty common for a lot of us. Our tendency to add all this extra weight and resistance where it just doesn't need to be. So much of what feels like a struggle, it's not actually the thing that's happening, but our fight against it. Redhead's observations suggest that we kind of live with this belief that effort has to equal struggle, That for anything to be worthwhile, it has to be this intense, grinding battle. But what if that's just a story we've been telling ourselves? It's just a quiet question to kind of sit with for a second. Think about a time in your day when things just felt easy. That feeling almost never shows up because we push harder, right? It usually happens when that pressure we're putting on ourselves finally lets up, even just for a moment. Okay, so how do we let go of that pressure? Well, these reflections point to a shift in where we put our focus, away from getting stuck on the problem and more towards a vision that just gently pulls us forward. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this breakdown of where our energy goes. The observation here is, if you're unhappy with where you are right now, you already have all the information you need. Constantly analyzing how I got here can actually keep you stuck. The real energy, the forward momentum, it comes from asking, okay, where do I want to go? And what's the very next simple step I can take? It's a total shift from overanalyzing to just do. And that, right there, is the heart of it. Motivation isn't something you have to force or drum up with willpower. According to these reflections, it's just the natural result of having a really clear, compelling picture of where you're headed. The vision itself provides the fuel. It's not a push, it's a pull. This brings us to a really powerful way of looking at life's unpredictability, not as something to be afraid of, but as the very thing that makes it so exciting. We all know this feeling, right? Life can make you scream with joy one minute and bring you to tears the next. It's the whole spectrum. But thinking of it as a roller coaster, that changes the game. You don't get on a roller coaster expecting a nice, smooth, flat ride. No way. You get on it for the ups and the downs and the thrilling feeling of not knowing what's around the next bend.
So here's the key. While we don't control the track, the crucial point is that our experience of the ride, that's shaped entirely by our own mind. How we interpret all those twists and turns becomes our reality. We are, as Redhead puts it, the sole architect of the whole thing.
But to really navigate that ride with some sense of ease and intention, well, that requires something absolutely essential, a mind that's free from all the unnecessary clutter and external noise. Just think about it. Redhead observes that our minds are constantly being programmed by countless sources, and every single one of them has an agenda. All these manufactured stories and constant interruptions, they can break our focus, mess with our perception, and make it almost impossible to just hear our own thoughts. But here's the beautiful part. Here's where our freedom lies. This reflection suggests that our minds, in their natural state, are adventurous. They don't know any limits. The only constraints that actually hold them back are the ones we ourselves agree to. So, protecting our mind from all that outside noise, it's not just some mental exercise. It's about getting back to a clean, clear thought process that lets us live as our true selves, making choices that are genuinely ours. And so all of these reflections, they don't really lead to some big final conclusion. Instead, they just kind of leave us right here on the path with this feeling of gentle, ongoing movement. This observation just pulls our focus right back to where we are. Not yesterday's problems, not tomorrow's worries, but to the only moment we ever really have. This one, the one happening right now. And maybe we can just end with this thought. In a world that so often glorifies the struggle, what if moving forward isn't about forcing the hardest path? What if it's about allowing the most natural one? What if the next step is just the one that feels the clearest, the most aligned, and maybe, just maybe, the easiest one to take?